All right, I'd like to welcome Christopher from Polygon, who's talking about effective product security.
Cool. Hi, guys. So I'm Christopher. I work for Polygon. I'm a VP of security over there. And basically, my talk is about bashing audits, bug bounties, and competitions and stuff like that. I've done security for a very long time. Before Polygon, I did a lot of cloud, software as a service type of things, and also doing security, pen testing. I've done almost every normal security job you can imagine. So I'm going to share some lessons, hopefully, just to check here who runs a bug bounty program for the program. Any hackers that actually report stuff into it? Cool. Perfect. Anyway, no. So let's go into it. So first of all, I want to make sure that everybody understands that security in an application, anything that you develop is not a checkbox. It's actually a process, no? Audits are literally a checkbox. You want your product, whatever it is that you're developing, either it is a client, it is a smart contract, or any type of product. You want to make sure that, you do this over time, because security is brought over time and it decreases over time and with work. And that is especially true in smart contracts. Now, you've probably all interacted with a lot of the typical, protocols that have been for ages, Maker, Uniswap, and stuff like that. Those smart contracts have been there already for years. And those years, the amount of, bug bounties that they receive, the amount of audits that they receive, the amount of reviews that they've done made that product more secure and even more secure. Because if by now, those smart contracts like Uniswap V2 hasn't been hacked, the probabilities of it being hacked in the future are a little bit lower. No, let's not talk about AI or, quantum computing, that can change a little bit things. But in general, this is true for almost everything. So this is what the process looks at Polygon. No, and basically in any company that has a security team, that has a secure software development lifecycle, that's, the acronym for it, SDLC. I'm not going to go through all of this. No, it's a pain in the ass. And if you guys want to actually, learn a little bit more about how to do software, how to deliver software in the most secure way possible, you take a picture or reach out to me later. I'm happy to help you out with that. But it's a long process. It's difficult. It's annoying. And basically, where do bug bounties, audits, competitions fall into? Just here, external assessments. No, that's kind of after the development. And then the bug bounty is kind of when you go live. No, it's just like one thing out of, 20 that are over here and a lot more that are not mentioned in this slide. So just to, give a little bit of an introduction also, at Polygon, we have 4 bug bounty programs open right now. No, Immunify, Hack and Proof, HackerOne, Remedy. People also submit stuff directly to us at security@polygon.technology. We have been the #1 protocol that has paid out money in bug bounties. So I want you to remember these numbers. So we've paid out almost 6 million so far in bug bounties since 2001. And we spent 2 million on audits. This is specifically for kind of like the POS chain, now that I guess a lot of you guys know. For CKVM, we already spent 750,000, and it's been only live for basically a year. And we spent also 2 million on audits. So if you sum that up, basically Polygon since 2001, 2002 has spent more than 4 million in audits, and has spent more than, sorry, I'm terrible on math, like around 7 million in bug bounties. Yeah. So look at that comparison. So we spend a lot of money in audits, and we still got a bunch of stuff in our bug bounty pro, like even more than what we spend in audits, at the same time. So I'm not really saying one is better than the other, but just think about that for a while. So you can spend all this money and still have a ton of bugs that come out into your product. So, and just to give you a little view of how where do we pay, a lot of them were medium types. No, so criticals, thank God we had very littles, but most of them were medium type of reports that have been paid out. So the Polygon shell is done. No, just so this is now me. No, so disclaimer: these are my own opinions. This is not what Polygon thinks, even though I'm the VP of security. So kind of, but no, these are my personal opinions on auditors, competitions, bug bounties, and stuff like that. So yeah, first of all, don't wait for a bug bounty program, and it doesn't have to be expensive, like at all. Like you can just start with an email address and tell everybody you got an issue, just report it, put a web page or stuff like that. Use a Google form, your Jira. I mean, all of these are free tools. That's a bug bounty program. You don't have to pay any of the big companies or big protocols or big services out there a commission or a monthly fee just to run your bug bounty program. You can run it yourself. Like security researchers in generally don't care. They just want to be able to report that. And you don't have to pay in money. Like even if you don't have enough money, you haven't got enough investment or everything else. You can pay with tokens, your own tokens. In the end, you're the one minting them. You can mint $1 billion or billion tokens. Just mint more and give them tokens, give them swag. Or even a public kudos. A lot of security researchers that work are basically, they do it because they like what they do. It's not only about the money. Yeah, it's also because they want to make the space safe. They want to make sure that protocols are safe because they use them as well. And stuff like that. So the only thing, just make that clear. If you're not going to pay them, make it clear. Hey, we cannot pay you. We don't have money. When you put out your web page or stuff like that, we cannot pay you, but we're definitely going to send you some swag. We're definitely going to make an amazing kudos Twitter post for you and stuff like that if you report anything to us. Now, and for hackers, if you're a hacker and you see a protocol that basically is not paying or anything like that, you may actually get a deal after that. Maybe you report something, you don't get paid, you get $10, you get a pizza, whatever. Okay, yeah, thank you, kudos. But after that, I'm sure that protocol is going to call you again and say like, hey, you actually reported something really cool and we liked what you did. Can you do this again? We actually found some money, we got an investor, we minted a bunch of tokens that are worth nothing. We can give you some of them. No, you probably, build a good relationship with a protocol if you do so. So, a couple of actual lessons, and I hate that I did this. So, first of all, scope your assets properly. Now, I've made this mistake many times when I build a bug bounty program, and I've put like, oh yeah, here's my GitHub, just submit anything about it, or here's my web page, and then you receive a bunch of crap. Like a bunch of crap, just anything, broken links, stuff that makes absolutely no sense. Somebody in marketing putting out a website for, some campaign that has some issues. Like, who cares? That's not going to really affect too much the company. I don't want to spend my time over there. My time is limited. Engineers' time is limited. They're better developing stuff, fixing stuff, deploying stuff than having to triage and deal with stupid, reports that are being sent. So what you should do is basically properly set up what the commit is. Now, make sure another mistake that I see many times is and this is horrible for a hacker now, that reports that spend some time looking at your code, discovered something, only that after it reported it, you say, oh, but that's not the commit that is on production, and so your report is not valid. Like, that's horrible. I hate when that happens. It has happened many times to me because, you got to tell, like, it's invalid. That's not what is in production. So make sure you tell them, like, what is the commit? Put like, hey, just always look at the latest release. If you guys are using releases for your code, just release that. And and then if you're using APIs or stuff like that, put things like Swagger and, so that people know what to look at for your API. So make sure that you're scoping that properly. Then learn how to score a severity. This is very important. I just hate dealing with people that don't understand that everything they put is critical. Oh, a broken link. It's critical because of that broken link, you can trick users into, like, come on, dude. Like, a broken link is not, in generally, it's not a critical finding. No, a critical finding is you stole my money. So make sure that you understand how to from both sides, from a hacker and from the project, that you understand how to score the severity. Normally, it's very easy. It's the impact and the likelihood. So what's the impact? Did you steal money? Did you put down my servers? Whatever the impact that it is, and then what is the probability for that happening? Is it easy to do? Can anybody do it? Do I have to? Does the protocol need to allow me to do that? No. So even though you may be able to steal all the money, yeah, and that's the impact, the probability or the likelihood of that happening can be impossible. Maybe the product that you need to exploit or the API that you need to exploit is behind a whitelist, is protected by an IP. Then like you cannot really do it. In theory, you can if you were in the whitelist or if you're part of the IP access control, but on the other side. So I know it's horrible sometimes because they're like, yeah, I found something, it's critical and stuff like that, and then I gotta go and tell them, yeah, but you cannot really do it. In theory, you can. So that would be a medium instead of being a critical or a high. No, but it's not gonna end up being a critical. A critical really means like you and anybody else on the internet is gonna be able to exploit that. Yeah, and if you need help, use a CVSS calculator. This is the one that GitLab exposes. You don't have to copy a link, just GitLab CVSS. They have a really good one that it's 10 questions and it asks you like, is a code public? Can anybody do this? And do they need to have permission? Blah, 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 blah. And it will give you a score at the end and kind of guide you like, okay, yeah, it is a critical, it is a medium, it is a high. And that is a great way to work and discuss with auditors or with protocols. No, and then very quick, bug bounty reports, and this is another issue that I've seen in competitions or in audits or in bug bounties. The severity that you put in a bug bounty report not always is the same as the severity that you see in a bug bounty or audit report. So they're not always the same, because in an audit report, you're not really testing the live environment. The audit report is just testing, something that is on GitHub, the code that you are potentially going to put live. So everybody should be able to have access. While in a bug bounty, it's things that are live. And many times when they're live, you have other controls. You have mitigating controls and maybe an IP whitelist. The web page needs a username or a password in order to be able to access it. So that helps lower a little bit the severity. So now a little bit of some other thoughts. Don't set up ranges. I hate when protocols set up ranges or hackers or try to negotiate the ranges. But if you do, make sure that it's clear. What does it mean that you're going to pay? Like Polygon, we pay a critical starts at 100K, if I'm not mistaken, or 50K, and it can go all the way to 1 million. So how do I get the 1 million? Well, it's quite easy. You just need to steal the money. Now, if you cannot steal the money, then we're going to pay you 50. But if you can steal the money, we're going to pay you 1 million. Obviously I'm simplifying it. There's some other variables that you need to have, but in general, that should be the thought process. And especially in Web3, where, bounties and audits are so expensive and people are paying, millions for different things. Like, make sure that you make that clear. Yeah. Managed triage. I know a lot of bug bounty programs are offering that. Not a fan, to be honest. I think that if you guys are engineers and building a protocol, you can probably triage that faster than anybody else that does it externally in any of those protocols. But if you have enough money and you don't have the time nor the engineers to do it, it may be worth it. Just make sure that you understand they have a conflict of interest, no? Because these managed triagers get a commission for every confirmed bug bounty. So it is in their best interest to actually, make sure that, it is valid. Yeah. Don't forget to disclose the issues to other protocols. No, I've seen this happening more than once where, okay, you receive a bug bounty, an auditor find the critical issue or stuff like that. And because of the nature of open source, other people may be using your code. Make sure, if you know, of course, many times you don't know, make sure that you actually tell the people that are using your code that, hey, we found the critical, please upgrade soon before, somebody goes public with this. So if you can, and if you know how, please, and if you know who, sorry, please disclose that before going live with it. Yeah, work with a hacker over this, work with a project. They're going to be able to normally help you, disclose this, and make sure that you're not disclosing it. If you're a hacker or if you're a project, disclose it after it's fixed. It's obvious. Sometimes it's not. And sometimes hackers pressure, or rush into disclosing some of this stuff. Yeah, mediations. I don't like mediations. Again, conflict of interest. Why am I going to trust you if you get a 10% commission that, if it's valid? Anyway, And don't just accept the severity, that whatever, if they tell you it's a critical, always challenge. Even if you know it's true, challenge it. Goes for hackers and for protocols. Challenge. Make sure you engage in the discussion. Why? Why do you think it is? On audits and competitions, I think this is the last slide because I'm almost on time, or I have 5 minutes, I think. I don't know. Audits are very subjective. Yeah, they're great, they're useful, but they're expensive, and they don't give you all the guarantees of securities, to be honest. No, and you also need to understand what you're getting for your money. Is it an automated one? Is it done by AI? Is it done by a bot? Is it a manual? How many people are behind it? What are the qualifications of the people? No, you can get audits and you can get audits. And you've all seen audits from certain companies that get hacked all the time, and audits from certain companies that basically are not really on, Twitter FUD and all those type of things. Ask, how they do it, what they do it, and make sure that you understand what the money is. And be clear with your budget. Like if you have 2K, you have 2K. If you have 20K, you have 20K. If you got 100K, don't say you have 100K, then they're going to steal all your money. But like if you have a limited budget, make sure you make that clear with your auditor or whatever it is to, so that they also know what to provide you, and what to scope you. If not, they're all going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to put you 10 people and it's going to cost you 150,000 and yeah, whatever. If you're an investor, I guess everybody's investor here, into meme coins nowadays, definitely. So, obviously it's gambling to a certain degree, and I would expect you to do thorough due diligence and look at all the audit reports and stuff like that. But if you're going to put serious money into a protocol, maybe not a meme coin, but like a proper protocol, and especially if it's new, just review the scope, review the methodology. If you don't know how to read that, ask somebody. Or look online, because many times people, all projects come in like, oh, I got an audit, it's all good, invest in me. And when you look at the audit report, it says, oh yeah, we audited that chair. All the other chairs, we didn't look at it, just that one. And that chair is good, so we believe that the rest of the chairs are good for you to sit on. And that's not really true. Just because that chair is good doesn't mean that the rest of the chairs are good. So review the scope, what methodology you'd use. Like just ask for, do you guys have a checklist? Like what do you check when you do an audit? Yeah. What else? I think I mentioned this, like audits are a point-in-time assessment. And most likely when they did the audit, by the time that they deploy it, the code has completely changed. So again, audits are useless. Not really, but kind of to a certain degree. So Web3 moves very fast. Changes happen all the time. You cannot expect companies to actually pay for every little change that they do. No. So yeah, audits are good, but necessary. But they're not the only thing, as I demonstrated at the beginning. There's a lot of other things you can do for free to, provide much better security than just an audit. So if the only thing you can do is an audit, then, maybe don't do an audit. Hire a consultant to look at your development process. Yeah, don't get an audit again. No. Get a security review of your development process. What else? Hire an engineer instead. Like if you just got an investment and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a bug bounty or an audit competition for $1 million. We're seeing that a lot lately where here, $1 million competition and stuff like that. Like, I hope you're also spending $1 million on your, security team and your development process and everything else. But I can assure you, it's not the case. They just threw $1 million to make some buzz, and then when you look at behind, like there's no processes, there's no SDLC, there's no security scanning. They haven't even checked their they host on Namecheap still. Like what? Anyway, and the security guy will know how to hire also a security company. Like if you're an engineer, or even if you're in the business side of things and you need to hire a security company, just ask an auditor, ask a security person to help you decide what is a good security company. Audit is not the same as a pen test. I think I mentioned that a couple of hours ago, but like it doesn't check your website. It doesn't check your DNS. They don't check your GitHub repo if it's good. Like there's so many other ways you're going to get hacked. Most likely that is not your smart contract that is audited. No, most likely it's going to be a phishing email. Most likely it's going to be a DNS change because you're on Namecheap. And last over here, about competitions. I like competitions. No, it gives you a very broad view of, of different people looking at your code and stuff like that. But isn't just a competition at Timebox bug bounty? Like, why am I gonna pay somebody else to do what I can do with an email address, and just say like, here's $10,000, go at it. People will ape. People, security guys will go and hit your stuff regardless. Was that it? Yeah, that was it. So you want this presentation, you got a QR over there. Also, I just recently made a very small guide. I advise a lot of little companies that don't know how to do security, don't have security people. So I made like a dummy version checklist, like basic stuff. Check your email, check your Google, check your GitHub, check all those type of things. So if you want to know how to do very, very simple basic security that will cover kind of like 80% of what you should be doing, then look over there or find me on Twitter or Farcaster or anything else. So I think we're done, no?
Yeah,
right on time?
very much.
One question maybe, do we have? Yeah,
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. No? Yeah?
It's always best to, I'm assuming so, it's always best to engage with your auditors, even in like the planning process, right? But say you can't do that. When do you see the optimal window is to get the security auditors looking at processes and code? And
so ideally, what I like that auditors are starting to do is just after you've done code complete and you're starting to test your things. So then you can probably many auditors actually offer for free. They're like, let me review your code. Just basically, I'll spend an hour or two. I'll do it for free just to make sure that you've done the basics. And then once you're done finishing your testing, they're already going to give you some feedback on the testing. And then once you're done the testing, you're going to get that audit. Honestly, audit is the last thing you kind of want to do. I'm not going to go through all of this again, sorry. Audit is basically the last thing you want to do. And it's really, really a checkbox. That's all. How many? Audits? Don't get an audit. You spend that money on a security researcher that works with you throughout the whole process. Like, an audit is a check. Like, it does provide you some guarantees, but in the end, it's kind of a marketing thing as well. It's just like, we can. I don't know. We got time, but
possibly a stupid question. But audits in the sense that someone reviews a piece of code. Is one thing, but I'm also thinking audits could be someone reviewing your SDLC.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
and reviewing your process is more like a one-time or yearly thing.
Yeah, but that's not an audit.
What's that called then?
So I mentioned that 2 hours ago. An audit, at least in traditional security, is a check against a standard. Let's see if you comply to ISO 27001. Let's see if you comply to this standard. That's an audit. We use this term horribly wrong in Web3. That what you're asking is an assessment, a security review. It's not an audit. Audit is really check the box. Oh, you comply to it. Like, you can do an audit if you comply to ERC 20. Is your token ERC 20 compliant? Audit it. It is compliant. That's it. But we're using the term wrong. But yeah.
Is an assessment then worth?
Yeah, I think an assessment is the best. Is the best word to use it. But we're not going to change. People are going to call it whatever they want.
But is that worth it then? If
Yeah,
audit is
that's why I would prefer that auditing companies are actually reviewing your development process than actually doing the check. And you should probably ask that to your auditor. They're gonna be even more happy because they know they're gonna be able to upsell you later.
Nice. Thank you very much.